In the previous video, I presented the multiplication table assignment in which the user enters a starting row value and a starting column value, and they can build a table where we see the intersection of those two values. If they're multiplied together, what would they be? So here we have 7 times 10 is 70, 8 times 6 is 48, and so forth. We can specify any one of different values here, so I can do 214, and let's do 37. So here you can see a much greater values being presented in terms of the product of those numbers. Let's take a look at the solution in terms of the interface and the code as I wrote it. So we have a text box here named txt top start, txt left start, a button named btn table, and then I have a label called LBO row headings and one called LBO column headings, and then a list box named LST table. Let's take a look at the code. So here's my code. I have one event handler called btn build table underscore click. We have integer values of row start, column start, I and j. I and j will be counters. Our column start or col start is going to be the text box text property of txt top start. We're going to parse that out as an integer. Do the same thing for row start from our txt left start text box. I have a string variable called string build is equals null, and I'm going to clear whatever's in the list box. So we're going to build our column header first, and for that we're going to use a for loop. We're going to go for I equals row start, and I is less than or equal to row start plus 9. We want 10 values going across. We'll increment I plus plus. We're only using integers in all of these multiplication tables. Then I'm going to build a string going across in my loop of string build plus equals I.toString. We'll convert it to no decimals. I could actually leave that out. It's going to be an integer value anyway. And we're going to pad that left by 12 spaces. That'll give us some nice even columns with enough room for some large products as we increase the values for our left and top starting numbers. LBO row headings.text is going to equal string build. We can do the same thing for building the row label on the left hand side. So again, we'll set string build equal to a null value. We'll use another loop, this time going from column start to less than or equal to column start plus 9. And we're going to build this, rather than using pad left, we're going to use a new line character, so we're getting multiple lines. Again, that N0 really is not necessary there. And then the crux of this application is a very simple nested for loop. For I, by the way, that comment there, build column header, shouldn't even be there. That was copied and pasted from above. I'm going to get rid of that. For I equals column start, and I is less than or equal to column start plus 9, I plus plus. And then inside that, we're going to create a string. Again, string using string build equals null. For j equals row start, and j is less than or equal to row start plus 9. We'll increment j. And then each time in that inner loop, we're going to build our string going across. Remember, we're doing this in a list box. It's going to be row by row. So string build plus equals I times j. We're going to get our product. We're going to convert that to a string, again with no decimals. And we'll pad that to the left with 12 spaces. Once we've gone through that inner loop and built our entire row going across, we'll simply add it to our list table. So this is a very simple code for a project that looks a little daunting at first and trying to figure out how to create this table, but it really is that simple, just four nested loops, and you can see the value now of having nested structures in terms of being able to do more advanced type things. Let's just make sure this works again. So I'll do 11 for my row start. Let's do 20 for the column start. And we see 20 times 11 is 220. 25 times 20 is 500. And 22 times 16 is 352. If we build our table again, notice it just replaces what's there. Make sure you always clear that LST table list box each time you execute the button. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the C# Xamarin Programming Cohort playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos that I create, you can click my picture up in the top right and subscribe to the channel.